Bill Belichick absolutely cheated, but does he still belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
He knows what you're supposed to do. Oh, he's a bad man. He's a bad man.
Yes, but on the first ballot, I'm Doug Kezirian. This is Hard Pass, also available in podcast. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on whether Belichick should be in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot, because it seems like the entire world is outraged with that Pro Football Hall of Fame. But to me, I'm more surprised that the entire reaction seems to be so one-sided, I guess ignoring Spygate and Deflategate, all things considered.
If you didn't vote for Bill Belichick, you should be stripped of your voting rights. Everybody that didn't vote for Bill Belichick, you should be, he's earned this, man. He's earned this.
I guess time does, in fact, heal all wounds, but everyone just wants to ignore that Belichick blatantly cheated for several years. Yeah, he did. And the NFL looked the other way, and owners were furious and may still be furious. So I'm not the least bit surprised he was denied induction on the first attempt. Now, in this world of embracing debate, we have to remind ourselves two things can be right at the same time. Bill Belichick can be a coach who cheated for several years, but also a coach who's worthy of induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame eventually.
We all watched Bill Belichick be the best head coach in the history of the league. We watched Bill Belichick be the best defensive coordinator in the history of the league. And you think you're like the gatekeepers of the game and you're going to tell us, the fans, who belongs in and who doesn't? We watch the games. We know who belongs and who doesn't.
I love Nick, and he's a friend, but voters are, in fact, gatekeepers. That's the very definition of their duty. Personally, I believe Belichick is undoubtedly the greatest coach in football history because I'm confident his intelligence and execution are authentically off the charts.
I mean, he says, hey, when we're running down this sideline, the way the wind pattern is in our stadium going towards the open end, the wind whirls like this. So the ball's going to look like it's going further than what it is, but it's going to hit that wind and it's just going to drop. So when you're running on this side, make sure you turn around and get your head back. And sure enough, I get a go ball on that side against Braylon Edwards. I turn and then I look back at him and then I remember like what Bill said, I turn my head back. Ball drops right in my lap, get an interception.
There are numerous examples of this, including the days before he became a head coach, as told by arguably the greatest defender ever, Giants legend Lawrence Taylor.
Belichick first came in, he was assistant special teams coach. Assistant to the special teams coach.
Basically,
you know how low that is?
He was in the film room making film.
His third year was Bill Parcells' first year as a head coach. And he named Bill Belichick the defensive coordinator. You're going to name him as defense coordinator? And Bill told me all the defenses that we've been running for the last couple of years are Bill Belichick's design. He designed all these daggone defenses.
Even though it wasn't his position at the time.
Somebody that knows football, knows defense. Hey, he knows what you're supposed to do. Oh, he's a bad man. He's a bad man.
Belichick's a football lifer. It's in his blood and truly unmatched. In fact, I think people don't give him enough credit, like when they just blindly count Tom Brady's Super Bowl rings and just assume he was always an elite finished product.
Talent was okay, but he was very smart. He loved football, and he worked extremely hard. And so he came in as our fourth string quarterback in 2000. No team carries four quarterbacks.
Right.
And honestly, two of the guys in front of him weren't all that good. So that's where he was. But he became great. And day after day after day after day, he just kept improving.
No. Belichick and the New England D won Super Bowls early on.
Okay, let's say it was all Tom Brady, no Bill Belichick. So bleeping what? So what? You gonna tell me it had nothing to do with making the decision to send Anna Vinatieri out there to kick the ball in the snow? He didn't make that decision. He didn't make the decision to move on from Drew Bledsoe to Tom Brady. He didn't make that Hall of Fame decision.
Keyshawn Johnson just doesn't get it. Belichick got denied on his first attempt, not because they think he was riding Brady's coattails or his stubborn behavior.
There's still people in that room that hate on Bill Belichick. It's ridiculous. Like, how you gonna hate this man? Like, I understand. He didn't allow y'all to interview him a certain way. He might have been standoffish. He might have did some things that rubbed people the wrong way.
And this is also not about voters trying to preserve the sanctity of the Hall of Fame and doing everything they can to prevent people from becoming a first ballot Hall of Famer like we see so often in all the Halls of Fame.
Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer is the most egregious oversight in the history of the Hall of Fame. And don't get me wrong, like the T.O. thing, right? T.O. not being a first ballot Hall of Famer, absolutely petty, ridiculous, but Bill Belichick?
The Terrell Owens voting was absolutely petty. This is not. This is based on principles and some payback. I realize it's been almost 20 years, so it's understandable that some might forget all the details. In fact, only a few people truly know the depths of the cheating because the NFL made sure of that. Roger Goodell wanted the investigation over quickly, so it only lasted a week, and he destroyed all the evidence, literally smashing videotapes. And NFL owners were forced to just look the other way and take it. It was all about protecting the shield because the league cannot afford to open the Pandora's box. Similar to those TV shows, when a judge or cop is found guilty of being dirty, then all their previous cases can then be called into question. The NFL absolutely prioritized avoiding a scandal of the outcomes of the games ever coming into question.
Even if you hate the Patriots, you got to be honest with yourselves and say this guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So this is an embarrassment to the NFL and the Hall of Fame in general. This man should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, even if you hate him.
It's not about hate or jealousy. Numerous owners still wonder what success Belichick deprived them unfairly. But they could never get due process at the time because optics were so critical to the league's future and bottom line. Think about all the knuckleheads we have now complaining about the NFL being scripted or fixed because of sports betting. Multiply that times 1,000,000. Belichick and the Pats caught a break. The NFL wanted to avoid all that at all costs. He knew what he was doing. He just thought it wasn't that bad, all things considered. After all, the sport of football involves terms like bomb, trenches, spy. All's fair in love and war, right? So now it's coming back to bite him a little bit, which is not that big of a deal, all things considered. Don't forget, Deflategate also part of this equation.
They felt like he cheated, so we're not voting him in.
Yep.
Are you not going to ever vote him in now?
Yep.
Because that's what's happened in baseball. The guys that cheated, they have yet to get voted in.
Yep.
So now you're going to do this with Bill?
So Belichick will eventually get his moment in the sun, but enshrinement will have to wait at least for 1 year.